I'm Leathur Rokk. Imagine I had my clapboard. Welcome to my channel. I'm doing a surprise cooking live stream I didn't think I was going to do. But guess what? I went out on my rounds and I scored some meat. Check out what you're about to watch me cook up. First of all, we've got this. It says guaranteed fresh, blah, 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 some kind of beef. Okay? And I smell it. It got absolutely nothing wrong with it, but it's been defrosted. It needs to be cooked like now. I took antibacterial palmolive dish soap. I washed off the top and bottom of this to kill any germs. Okay. Look what else we're going to get. I don't know what this says. It says beef hind shank. And it looks like this big old fat old steak that looks like it's a foot, an inch thick. Maybe it's two pieces and maybe they're approximately the size of a double hard drive in a laptop computer. Whatever it is, you guys, it is totally thawed out and I am going to cook it right now. Because now what we thought we were going to make tonight was, my mom wanted a salad and she said that she also wanted some hamburgers because I had this real big thing of ground beef and I didn't want to end up having to go bad before I got to use all of it. So I found that there was actual break in the packaging where there was a weak part and it seemed like it was actually roughly in half. So I did the thing with the antibacterial soap on the top and the bottom. Then I went over the sink after I washed all the dishes because sometimes people wash meat, raw meat, and that's the worst thing you can do because you're taking all the germs from the meat and spreading it all over your sink and it sprays over. And the thing is, water does spray over. If I have my water on real hard, the water gets underneath the coffee maker, which you obviously don't want. Electricity and water, not a good mix. So you have to be real careful. So you should never wash your chicken. You should never wash your beef. But yes, I do like to wash the outside packaging because then when I lift the packaging up, if anything touches the meat, anything that touches your raw meat, if it gets germs, those germs will multiply so fast, especially when things are room temperature. Now, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put these back over here. And then I'm going to get the oil. Okay, I have two clean pans. I have a little pan here. I have the big pan here. Let me test. You know what? I want to wash this hand with soap because in the off chance there is anything from the raw meat. Myra Greenblatt, hello? Myra, you can get to say first because you were the first person to jump in the comments. Oh, I want to point out this shirt since you probably can't see it with the damn reverse thing. This is a souvenir I got from George W. Bush's second inauguration. There was a guy selling these long sleeve sweatshirts, they were long sleeve t-shirts, and they actually had a cuff to, where things are the cuff. Anyway, I cut that off. And because when I gave the guy a $20 bill, I thought I was going to get one shirt and $15. No, he gave me 4 shirts. So that meant that I was able to only leave one in pristine condition, and I was able to actually live in the rest of them. But because I love George W. Bush, 9/11 made me realize that I could turn Republican and made me conservative. And just, so it has a very sentimental attachment for me. So anyway, and this is after I take a shower, I was not running out of clean things, but anyway, this is what I could find. It was practical and clean to put on, and I didn't want to go and change into something else just to make this video. I figured let me wear this. Plus, whenever you're frying things, long sleeves are nice because things, the grease spits at you. And I'm tired of getting burned. It's painful in the kitchen, let me tell you. But let me wash my hands. Okay, now my hands are wet, and you know what? I don't keep tea towels around because they end up having germs too. So I usually drip my hands dry, or if I want to make an alternative to a towel, I take something that I washed, say a t-shirt or something, and then I put my hands inside it. And if my hand is freshly washed, it's obviously clean. And I dry my hand off inside there. And then, of course, I make sure that I don't touch any surface until my hand is absolutely bone dry. Now, if I get impatient because I want to get to cooking, then I probably want to finish it off with a paper towel of some kind or tissues of some kind or something. And I do have something in the hallway that has something so I can dry myself. Because I don't, I know I get on my mom's nerves when I go in her room and I dye my hand inside one of her t-shirts, and she's kind of starting to get pissed about it. So. Okay, I use this because you want to be real sanitary when you handle raw meat, and that's what I'm about to do. I'm going to take the big skillet. Oh, first let me tilt this down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I've got a big thing of oil. I'm going to try to do most of my fiddling around with my left hand because the right hand I'm going to use to touch the raw meat. And you know, once you touch raw meat, you got to wash your hand right away. Okay, I'm going to be a little generous with the oil because I got lots to fry. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you. Sorry, I got to try to not touch the camera as much as possible. Okay, can you see at least some of this other oil? I'm not going to turn on the back burner because the mice live in the stove, and I want to make sure that they have a safe place to go. I don't want to hurt them. Okay, well, I also don't want to get the hem in any of this because I was out rummaging around and the hemline of this isn't really sanitary. I want to wash it. But the thing is, because I try not to wear the same thing in my videos and stuff, that makes I wash a lot more clothes, and I'm already so swamped with the laundry. And plus, if I'm going to be going to Washington D.C. soon, I want to make sure that the clothes that I wash now are going to be dry by then. So. Okay. All right. I'm gonna tip the oil all over here, all over here. All right. I'm gonna start some flavoring first. You see this? I got a big onion. Oh, I tried scrubbing. If the stove looks any better, I found this sponge that has a scrubbing thing that's made of something different. And I started doing things with that, But let me clean this off. Now let me show you something I have. If you ever have an onion that gets mildew on the edges and you don't want to use those scrubbing cloths that I use for dishes, try using something like this. This is a vegetable cleaning brush. This is how we scrub potatoes before we cook them. Because I'm not a peeler kind of person, because most of the vitamins are in the peels of vegetables. So I like to scrub these before taking the skin off. Plus, if you want to save the skins to dry them and you food process them, and that's how you can make your own onion powder. But you want to definitely make sure the mold and mildew's off before you do that, obviously. Oh, whoa. And this floor is very warped. So you know what? If I'm careful, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use, because I want you to see what I'm doing without getting my right hand dirty. Because if I get my right hand dirty, then, when I'm ready to handle the meat, that's going to cause problems. Okay. The red you see behind me, I'm so mad at myself. Somebody came here and brought a bunch of tomatoes from somebody's garden, and I wasn't ready to deal with them, and most of them have gotten rotten. Except for maybe the littlest ones. Because most of the time I'm not in the mood to touch rotten things, I mean, hopefully you don't blame me. I know I could just cook the meat at first and then do all the flavoring later, but it's really nice to do some flavoring of the oil. And especially since I know I'm not going to be cooking this for any animals. If you were going to be cooking for dogs or cats, you never want to use onions or garlic. That's poisonous to them. You don't want to use any of these flavorings, these herbs. Most of these herbs, with very few exceptions, are bad for them. They have volatile oils that can actually do medical things to dogs and cats, to interfere with their breathing, interfere with their heart things. It's just, there are some basic differences in the physiology of humans and cats and dogs, and you just have to be very careful. Grapes, that's another thing that you don't, is a big no-no. But now, I know a lot more about cats than I do about dogs. And with cats, one thing that cats sometimes are attracted to, and I think gets them high, is olives. I've had, most of my cats have been olive-loving cats. They will roll around in them and they will get high with them seemingly. And I'm talking like a catnip kind of high, okay? Okay, now I've got a clean onion. Okay, I'm going to use my feet and I'm going to touch the tripod of this to move this because I really want to keep at least one hand clean for when I handle the meat. This isn't dirt, this is actually just coffee grounds. Now, some people actually save these ends for soup, the end, but the thing is with a lot of onions, the core actually has a little tiny bit of rottenness. So for that reason, it's actually good to just cut it. And by the way, this is a very dangerous thing to do. Never do that. Never put pressure on where the knife could, if it slipped, it could literally cut your thumb off. So you really want to, but I understand the challenge of, this is where a lot of people like to use a flat surface, but, oh, now this is, I'm, okay, now let's see, where would the rotten part be? Okay. I'm going to set this aside because I want to use everything except for that part. Okay, I can take all these chunks that are totally fine. Oh, damn it. Well, and you know what? You can actually, if you really do not have much in the way of onions in one drop someplace, you can always, nobody says you can't do a soap and water wash to clean off something. If you can't afford to waste food resources, say you're forced to. One time I went to visit a friend and I needed onions for a dish, because I love to cook for my friends, especially when you're visiting. If you have cooking skills, that's an inexpensive, relatively speaking, way to do something for the people that have given you hospitality and stuff. Well, I went to go to look at the onions and I could only afford to buy one, and they were like $2 a pound. Olives contain the patalactone, the same compound that is found in catnip. Ooh, that's why they get high. Because I'm telling you, I don't remember whether it's just black ones or just green ones or all of them. But I had cats, literally they get on their back and they drool on them and they roll around in them and they get them on their faces and everything. And I have documented this. So many of my cats have done it, even though, from my experience, not all cats will react to catnip. Okay, now, the only part of this onion that's bad is this. Now, I just fed another can of tuna to a cat. And before you tell me that tuna is not good for cats, I know it's not good to give them a steady diet of tuna, of food. And I understand that. But It's a lot cheaper than cat food, especially if you're thinking, I do have a little bit of cat food left from my kitties that died, but I certainly am not going to break the seal on anything. And also, if I have, say, 20 or more cans of this tuna in water, which I don't really eat because I like tuna in oil. Tuna in water my mom eats, and she's not eating it all that frequently. But it's easier to open up a can of tuna to give a cat that you're noticing around, you know. And if I had a safe place that I could set traps, because I do believe that if you feed them, you should fix them. But I also know what happened when I tried feeding cats a block away from me on a really big druggy street, and there used to be over 30 some cats. And I was warned by some neighbor, most of the people over there don't speak English. I was warned by some neighbor not to feed cats anymore. And these were some kind of rough people. I didn't want to piss people off. Well, all I know is shortly after this, all the cats disappeared. And I found out that somebody poisoned them. And I made a video about this. And the thing is, that was one of those kind of streets that at the time, the only way that I had to film was to open up my laptop and to carry it like a birthday cake. And you have to be so careful. And that's not a very discreet way to film. Or if you had a tablet, maybe have it in your purse with just a camera sticking out. And of course, it's really easy to accidentally hit something and you'll turn the camera off. So, and if you accidentally get somebody or they think you're filming them and you're drug dealers or something, you can get in a lot of trouble. So, as much as I love to create content, I do have to think about my personal safety. Okay, now you can see that this onion's okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you and another thing, I can't risk having this fall on the ground because if it does, that's really going to suck. Okay, so you see the onions are here. And onions, mice are afraid of or repulsed by onions and garlic. So that's one thing. You can keep onions sitting out and your mice won't go after things. Okay. Alright, these things here I'm going to soap and water wash because I don't want to waste them. But that did touch this. And if you got germs from mice, everybody's freaking out about hantavirus and they're freaking out about that. And you know what? I don't want to be cavalier about that because I have my mom to think about. And I'm sure she's a hell of a lot more sensitive than I am. But I will wash these. Well, those are those guys with those motorcycles that they like to come, I guess they go up and down the island or whatever, but they're just really loud. Okay, let's see. Bubbalandia, hello. Now I gotta be real careful, my hand is wet, and you know water makes oil spit. Another reason I'm glad I'm wearing long sleeve. Now I'm not gonna bother using a knife for this. I'm just gonna break this up. First I want to make sure I don't have any dirt. What these crumbs would probably be would be coffee grounds. Nice and little. And try to make everything the right size. I just love to take my fingernails and just crunch them. Yeah. Might not seem like the most sanitary thing, but it's a hell of a lot safer than taking a knife and sticking it on your hands and then you're thinking, why doesn't Leather play guitar anymore? Oh, because she doesn't have any fingers. Nah. Yeah. This is so much easier. They snap so easily. See? if you do them roughly the same size, won't take too long to get translucent. Then I can push them aside so they don't get blackened. Use a serrated spoon to take them out so that they don't burn. Then I put the steaks on. See? You get a real nice... I wish you could smell this. I want to make sure the view is good. Oops. Oh. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how this looks the best. I watch all different kinds of cooking videos when I do watch them, and some of them have been largely faceless, except for occasionally they'll show themselves when they're serving a meal that they just cooked. But the thing is, I really do like the personality of seeing somebody, you get to know them and their personality and stuff. But that said, a lot of cooking channels, the people who have the personalities and who are in all their videos, sometimes those people are still annoying, and I feel guilty even saying that. I know I'm not going to drop any names. But that said, I do like to see the face of the person. Occasionally there are people that I really connect with. Like some of these people from India, for instance, I relate to that. One thing that some females do that I find annoying is when they make an effort to get too cutesy. I find that kind of like when they do the Cyndi Lauper, ooh, kind of thing. I just want to, there's certain things I find annoying. So, but I like styles where that are kind of educational. If I can learn something about technique or about safety, as far as food safety, as far as toxicity of things, uh, like if I'm watching a video about sushi and Asian seafood prep, I would want to learn about something called fugu fish, which is a kind of puffer fish, and it is very toxic. Most of it can be very deadly and has to be prepared only a certain way by somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, and it's considered a delicacy, and it's considered very exciting to experiment with it. But again, you have to go to a sushi chef who really has the training and whatever, because you're basically taking your life in your hands. And you can see the pan from both angles. Okay. Well, I want to show both the pan, and I want to be able to show my face too, and I want to be heard. And I mean, if all you see is the back of my head, then I think that kind of sucks, honestly. You know. Also, that increases the chances of me getting hair in the food, which I heard is a turnoff. My mother's always complaining about hair getting in things. But I mean, if it was a long hair, okay. If I was in a restaurant and I found a long hair somebody else's, and I wouldn't freak out about it because, first of all, heat kills germs, right? And of course, that said, there's different degrees of sanitation in hair. Like if I was picking up a bunch of cats and the cat's paws got in my hair, you know what the germs that are in cat's paws, then no, my hair would be filthy, and I would not want that hair to contaminate food. But if somebody had their hair in a bun all the time and they never got contact with unclean surfaces, then I would have no problem with that. And of course, we have no way of knowing what people's situations are, or maybe their hair is in certain styles where it's very hard for them to actually wash their hair. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Oh, now I'm feeling that I want to cry because of the onion kind of thing. Okay, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to dry my hand off, and I'm going to use this to turn the fire on. Okay. And first thing I'm going to do is get the onion on this. And you know what? I should probably do some of them on this one too, because if I'm going to flavor one pan and the other, and I might as well cook both at the same time, you know. Let's see what's going to be fair. Okay, I'm going to take this, whoops, and I'm going to put this over here. Put this back here. These are coffee grounds. Okay, I'm going to turn the fire on this one. Ah! Whoops. I really don't want to burn the onions. I want to get them to translucent. And then you know what? I'm going to get a pan or a even just a dish of some kind, because once the onions are cooked, I'm going to need to get them out of there so that I make room for the steaks. I'm thinking, am I going to need something this big? No. Maybe this will be better. I definitely don't want anything spilling out. Bubblelandia says, honestly, the difference in food contamination levels between 1825, 1925, and 2025 is very drastic. Nowadays, I'm more concerned about chemicals than germs or anything natural. Well, I stopped gardening where I was gardening before when people start walking dogs there and not picking up after them. Things didn't get better when Caesar died. I noticed somebody walking dogs, and just what is it where people think that that's a natural and desirable fertilizer? I mean, if you at least use chicken shit, you let that rot well, that's considered good. And I've heard things about bovine manure too, but I really don't like the smell. You can tell when somebody uses that for their roses. And there was this place that I used to go to in Hollywood. You can tell when their landscaper was there feeding the roses, because he would literally put this manure, and it smelled like manure, okay? And sometimes, you forget, and you put a purse down or a sweater or something where a shrubbery is or something, not realizing that you're putting it literally in something with E. coli, and just not a good idea to use things that are such a filthy. See, I would rather for my fertilizer, I would rather use compost. Just take your fruits and your vegetables and take any stickers or plastic or paper off of them and put them in your compost pile. And I used to do that at the garden, but then one of the farmers said that they wanted to experiment with different things for their fertilizers. And they were doing things like only ashes or only coffee grounds. And, and since they owned the property, I really couldn't say anything. I used to always save my compost. And the thing is, since we have mice here, I can't really do compost indoors. Plus, I don't want to feed any other critters. This is smelling real good. This weekend, when I go out to get some things for Mom, some things that she ran out of, some lady hygiene stuff that I need to try to acquire from her. And I'm thinking, I want to get some herbs and spices for the kitchen to take with me when I go to Washington, D.C., because my friend who I stay with, he doesn't have certain things that I need for certain things I want to cook. And it tastes a lot better if you have just certain things, you know. And he lives near a Safeway, and they are like an upscale grocery store. And they want $4 or $5 or $6 for what I could get at a dollar store here. So I'm going to get him a bunch of things. And plus, it weighs nothing. So I'm going to... Okay, I'm going to turn the fire off on that because some of the edges of these onions are actually starting to brown. Even though I don't think everything's gotten translucent yet. When you're dealing with cast iron, the heat from that... You know what? I'm going to turn the fire off of this too. I'm going to just let the heat cook, turn these. Matter of fact, if I stop turning these, you watch, some of these will get a browning. I have to really stir these. These are smelling really good. Just for the heck of it, I'm going to throw a little bit of this ground coriander in this and in this. Oh, I could see right now the browning on some parts of these onions. So I'm going to give this another stir. I notice you have to be careful whenever you throw powders in an oil thing. The powders can get kind of gummy and it can kind of take away from the lubrication ability of the oil. You know, the whole thing that we're using. The oils do a lot more than just act as a lubrication while you're frying things. They also are carriers of flavor. But when you put powders in oils, you have to be very careful. Oh, I know what I want to add to this. Turmeric. Always great to add some turmeric. Yes. I'm so mad at myself. I had a box that I was set to ship out to Washington, D.C. like 5 or 6 years ago. And there were a couple times when I had a chance to get free rides out there and things fell through. And anyway, I finally found it and I was so happy. I found it by accident when I was looking for things to pack because, you know, we're supposed to be packing because we need to be out of here and blah, blah, blah. If you watch my videos for a while, you know the old story about that. Anyway, I was so happy that I found this box, you know, because obviously it would be better, it would be so much cheaper than spending money for the Postal Service to just carry it on a Greyhound, right? But then I set it aside someplace and I forgot it, where it is. I have no idea where in this house it is. And I'm just so irritated at myself about that. But anyway, when I go out this weekend uptown, I think I'm going to have somebody. You see, usually I'm carrying a big, not a big, I'm carrying a laundry cart of sorts on wheels. And that means I can't take it into stores. But if I can let somebody I can trust watch it for me, then I can go into a store and I can buy the things I want to buy. Okay. Okay. Alright. Now I'm going to take this onion mixture, take this out of here, leaving the oil, because that's what we're going to cook these steaks in. Oh, this smells so good. Want to look at this? And it's yellow because of the turmeric. Turmeric has many health benefits. And they say to increase the bioavailability of the curcumin, that's one of the active ingredients in this turmeric, you should also mix it with black pepper. So I will, before this dish is done, incorporate black pepper, and that way the nutritional bioavailability. One of the things I like to do when I cook is I like to approach food as medicine. We are, as RFK has been talking about for years, we are an over-medicated society. People pop pills and they have all these chronic diseases that people should not be getting. And if a lot of it is diet, and if some of it is the fact that when we go to the store and we buy things, the processing of the things and the extra ingredients, we don't really know what we're putting in our bodies. So when my father was first got sick, and then when it found out that lung cancer was involved, I right away started cooking a lot more Indian cooking. I was cooking with turmeric. I was doing all kinds of things because one of the things I heard was the more ground it is, the more, like if you can get it to the nanoparticles, then it could get into the bloodstream better. The smaller you can pulverize it, the better it gets. You know, crush it before you chop it. But the ground stuff, and I go through so much of it because it's so good for us. The only thing is you don't want to use too much of it because it really can be bitter. Okay, now that I have the oil, now because everything is on a slant, I'm going to turn this around so the slanted part is over here. Oh, and that was hot. And now we get to put the fire on again. And now we get to do the mystery steaks. Whoa, whoa, and it would help if I didn't get, see, there's a tripod here, and it's real easy for me to just get stuff, you know, trip myself. Okay. Alright, I'm going to put these two in this big thing here, and since I use the soap and water, I can open up these and I'm not going to get the gungy bungees or something and transfer germs onto the steak. I hope this is 2 and not 4. Wow, look how thick these are. And you know what? These have the, oh, you get the marrow. Oh, can you say soup bone? Look at this. And it doesn't smell like it's got anything bad. You know, you always worry about meat that you find outside. But you know, these both have marrow bones. Oh, yes. Oh, nom, nom, nom. Oh, okay. Oh, and the blood. Oh, tasty pork. Tasty beef blood. Blood is so good for us. Anybody ever been told you were anemic? Before you reach for those iron pills, get some blood in you. Oh, ask any vampire, get some blood in you. First I'm going to wash this hand off, and then I'm going to add a little bit of water to this, and then I'm going to put that into there. Okay? I use maybe 2 tablespoons of water. I'm going to clean out this thing that the meat was in, you see? And I'm going to add this there. But you want to make sure that the water boils off that because you don't want to steam them. You do want to cook them. Okay, now, this part, blood, 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 blood. If I'm taking a health risk, I'll let you know if I die, okay? Now I'm going to put this in the recycling, I'm going to put this in the trash. There. I want to point something out to you. I washed everything so that I'm not spreading germs. Even though I just took out a load of recycling, they never locked the gate, so I can take all the recycling out I want. Okay, now, this is what goes here. All I know about this is it says extra value beef. Oh, look at this. And it doesn't smell, I'm not reacting to anything. I don't smell anything rotten. Let me show you what this looks like. Oh boy, whoops. Look at this. Oh, beautiful. This is how thick it is. Now I'm going to put this right here. Oh, oops. Got paper on it. Now I know. Oh. Oops. Oh, ouch. Oh, oh, ouch, 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 ouch. Okay. Well, you know what? I got to put this away. I guess I'm doing a sear first because it's higher than I want. But you know what? Okay. I've got to adjust that. I'm going to wash my hands again. Okay, now here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to use this to grab edges of things. Ooh. Okay, good. There we go. Alright, now this needs... Oh, this is interesting. I don't know if you can tell this, well, this is not, this one seems flatter than this one. I may need to add more oil to this. You know, I think what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to do with the chef's stew, and I'm going to finish them off with butter. The thing is, I'm trying to think of where the Worcestershire sauce is, or maybe I used it up already. Unless there's any more here, I don't know. But I'm going to have to, see, I have to turn this around because you see how this one wasn't flat? So only some of the surface got to touch the hot pan, which means it's going to be real tricky to cook this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to cut this to lay it flat. This is where this knife comes in handy. Can you see what I'm doing? The part that curved up, so that I can move this more to here. Oh, you see, I needed to do that. I'll show you why. Oh, I'm just going to cut some more so that I can put it on the more of the surface area, the real estate of the pan. You see what I'm doing? But I would like for all this meat to be done at approximately the same time. It kind of would be nice. Okay, see this hunk? This is hardly ever exposed to the fat at all. This really needs to go down there. Okay. You know, this would be a great time for one of my friends to come by because I have more than my mom and I can actually eat. But, you know, okay. When they start to balloon up, it's kind of like if you ever take that pork roll, you cut thin slices of it, or if you're ever cooking salami, you always want to cut a slit in it because it's going to otherwise curve up and then you're not going to get an even cook. Now, I'm going to, so this doesn't curve up, I'm going to cut. See? That way I can get things cooked. Marrow is so good for you. Nancy Blackburn, try on. Hello. Oh yeah, she's doing good. This is not the hamburger she thought she was going to get, but can you imagine just this falling into your lap like it did? And I've seen raw meat out there before, but it's usually so late in the day, or not in the day. Sometimes, say I don't find it till 6 o'clock in the morning, and you don't know how long it's been sitting out. But I was just back there like 4 hours ago, and it passed the smell test. I'm thinking, this is just too good to be true, you know? You know how expensive meat is now, you know? And I swore, when my mom got out of the nursing home, I was going to spoil her rotten. All these menus that they would say, give a sample of what they were feeding them. And half the time, that wasn't it. They would forget this, they'd forget that. You know. Oh, one time they forgot to feed them coffee 3 days in a row. And then I finally found out a couple months later, it was because they ran out of cups. It's just, you know, there's got to be contingencies for things like that. We'll turn this around just for the hell of it. Ooh, look at the color on this. Oh, I want you guys to see what this looks like. Whoops. Oh, you see what this looks like? That is beautiful. I'm going to turn this down somewhat. You know, and something else I'm going to do. First of all, protect my hands from burning. I'm going to take this, yeah, and then I'm going to get some butter out. I'm going to get two kinds. This is real butter. And this is imperial margarine that my mom wants to use. So one of her friends got her some, or actually this may have been, oh, I feel guilty. I think Debbie sent us this for her. Anyway, I'm going to try what the chefs do, and I'm going to use butter in the finishing thing. I'm going to set this here to get more room temperature. So let's see, okay, what's going on. Okay, now this, let's see, some of this is going to, you know what? I think maybe I can take a chance of just shutting off the fire on this because these hold on to heat for so long. That's one of the things, it's an advantage, but it's also something that means there's certain things you can't cook with these things. Like for instance, you can't cook pasta with these things. You know, you will get overcooked pasta. You can't cook ramen noodles with these things. Did you ever had overcooked ramen noodle? That is disgusting. It's slimy. It's really unpleasant. I really like to get the fat down and on the skillet because that renders. And it tastes so good. And I mean, I know you can chew the fat, and it tastes wonderful, but think of the calories involved. Even though we're finding out so much that we were lied to in the government about what was nutritionally healthy for us. And for years we were led to believe that animal fats weren't good for us because they led to clogging arteries and heart disease and stuff, which is scary, especially if you, like me, have heart disease in your family. Nobody wants the heart stuff, right? But now they're saying that, well, I know for a fact that one of the things that cause breast cancer rates to skyrocket in this country is when we stopped eating only butter, but when they had margarine. And then that, because now we know the trans fats are bad for the body for many reasons. And if you know already, I'm not going to get into it here because rather than get into the technicalities of it, it's easier to just focus on the nutrition and focus on using food to be healthier. You know, I noticed they have all these supplements that they're selling now, and they're probably really good, but they cost, they cost probably a lot of money, and I'm sure they're really wonderful, but some people, I think they're spending as much on supplements, and by supplements I mean vitamins and minerals, and pills and powders that they take that are supposed to have some health benefits, either for individual body parts or for hoping that they prevent things, even though all the fine print and all these things says not intended to diagnose or prevent any disease and stuff. But if you're spending the equivalent of a monthly food budget just on supplements, I think it would be better to try to find ways to, if you can afford to do so, eat the kind of foods that have medicinal benefit, such as fruits and vegetables. But also, apparently, sometimes so does red meat. You know. So yes, food can be medicine. Food should be medicine. Garlic, for instance. Chew raw garlic. You think you're coming down with something. Garlic, it might not be good for your social life, but it will boost your immune system and help you fight off things. And you do that, and then you work out, so you're in a real serious sweat. Oh, that's, you know, and if you can allow yourself to not be around people for like 3 days, because you have to sweat it out, and not just out your armpits. When you're sweating out garlic, it actually comes out all over your body. That's why brushing your teeth isn't enough. But garlic is so very medicinal. And if you want to get your best out of fresh garlic, aside from chewing it, when you work with it, crush it before you chop it, so that the more you macerate it, the more you pulverize it, the more you crush it, the more of all the things that make it healthy for you get into your body. Okay. Oh, this looks so good. This smells so amazing. But this, I think, is the only way to make sure that your meat is fully cooked everywhere when you can't flatten it out. Some people like to take a brick. You can take a brick and you can wrap it in foil and use that as a press. Some people actually buy meat presses or bacon presses. They kind of look like irons. And you put them on top of your food when you're frying them up, and it flattens them out so they cook evenly. It definitely always saves your marrow bones. You know what I like to do? I like to take a bag that is much bigger than what I'm about to put in it, and I save it just for bones, and I put it back in the freezer. You have to do it in the freezer because otherwise it's all going to go bad on you. And you'll end up having to throw out a bunch of them. If you save up a bunch of bones for soup, and garlic areola, there you go. Of course. You can use onion. If you cut yourself, say you cut yourself accidentally with a knife when you're cooking, you can take raw onion. And raw onion has kind of antibiotic impact. Like, I bet you should have that on hand if you ever get cat scratches. That will really help, because sometimes people get allergic reactions to them. My father did. So you have to really be careful. And if you're trying to pet street cats, then you really are putting yourself at risk. You know. Okay. Now I'm gonna put this facing this way. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the fire off. That'll be hot for 25-30 minutes. You know? Sometimes if you know one side is done extremely well, you can go ahead and flip the other side. Now I see some blood pooled over here. Just let it sit there. And then, you know, it's important to let the meat rest. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to let this meat rest. So I'm going to, since this has been turned for a while, oh, this smells so amazingly good. Oh, I have something that I can use to handle it. Look at this. This is not the right kind of tongs, but it'll do. Okay, this is what this looks like. So this isn't as well done. So you know what? I'm going to put it on here, and I'm going to let it continue to sit there. It's probably, I'm sure, just fine. And if it's a little less than well done, it'll be between medium well and well done. Because I used to be a total well done steak girl. Until I found out that you can very easily go to shoe leather territory, and you don't want to do that. Alright, now I'm going to have to make something with this, right? And what my mom had originally asked for was she wanted a salad. And she wants it in a really big bowl. I want to get that really big bowl now. I died. Oh, is there an extra port on here? Well, I'm going to try showing you guys this. Okay. My mom is on an iPad, her friend, and I'm going to see if I can show her this, okay? What I'm showing you right now, I'm going to see if I can show Mom. Okay, we're going to... And I'm telling her I'm live streaming right now. Okay, so I think she was suitably. Whoa! Save! I did a save. See that? I am so sick and tired of washing things. I'm just so tired of it. You ever had one of these things where you just washed some items of clothing and they're finally dry and you're moving on to something and something falls on the floor and it's like, I have to wash this all over again. And it's just, I want to pull my hair out because I work. I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining about my life, okay, but I work so hard. I fell asleep last night. I was thinking, do I want to do a live stream or something? I had finally made the cooking video that I posted yesterday, right? But I fell asleep with my makeup on and everything. I was thinking, do I feel like putting some other clothes on and making like a video, right? But I woke up in my makeup and everything. By this time, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm thinking, well, you know what? I guess nobody's going to come over. I guess I can wash my face off and go to bed, right? But then, all of a sudden, my mom wanted something. And then I started doing things. Then I made a pot of decaf coffee, right? And then I'm thinking, well, I don't know. But anyway, I never ended up going back to sleep, even though I washed my face and everything. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? After I post the video that I posted today, then I'm going to need to create content because I'm obviously going to need a video for tomorrow. Because one nice thing about when you film more than one video in a day is it buys you a little bit of time because then I can think, well, do I want to rest and not have to worry about putting clothes on nice and doing my makeup, doing all these things that I have to do to look perfect, which I think as much as it takes time sometimes to do research on certain things, sometimes what takes the most time is just getting ready for the thing. If I'm going from wearing pajamas, which by the way, these pants right now, I'm considering that I'm filming in pajamas because I felt that I was being lazy. But usually I invest a lot of time in picking out a specific outfit to wear because I want the colors to be far enough away from the colors of the last video you saw, maybe, so that gives variety on my channel. So there's a contrast between one and another, if you're even watching in order. But the thing is, when I do a live stream, sometimes I'm wearing different things, and depending on when people watch things, they may or may not get that same variety. But the thing is, too, that the more variety I give, the more laundry I have to do, and that's the thing. And it's like, oh my God. And right now, I've been really focused ever since Charlie Kirk was killed. My focus has been on, okay, now what? What am I going to have to do? My channel is going to have to, you see, I was in fear of getting too political, but in my case, it wasn't because I was in fear for my personal safety. I was in fear of YouTube shutting me down, because that's the thing, is the more active we get politically, especially if we're on the right. You know, YouTube, there's some things concepts we're not allowed to discuss, things we're not allowed to say, even though they're finally admitting certain things we're right all along. But anyway, we have to be very careful. And I can be filming the most innocent kind of video, which oftentimes they were cooking videos or cat videos or family videos. And I'll say this one thing that is apparently the YouTube gods do not allow. And then they say, we will give you 600 characters to tell us why you didn't violate this rule or that rule or this terms of service or this. And it's like, whose community standards is this even? I had a problem with Facebook a couple of days ago that for some reason, because I had a different phone that they didn't recognize with a different login, they locked me out of my account for like 2 hours. And I'm thinking, and they said that this could be a permanent thing you could lose. When I think of all the stuff that I have posted on Facebook as far as family pictures, cat pictures, and all the cats are dead, you know, Bubba Landis says, I have to go for now, but I look forward to seeing the rest. Well, thank you for stopping by. I just love it when people tune in, you know, and when people do and say the things that indicate that they do want this content to stay. You make it a joy for me to be a creator. I wish I could feed you, man. You know, I'm waiting for somebody to ring the doorbell and say that they're hungry. But yeah, and now I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, we have to still be careful about what we say, but since Charlie died, I want to do something good with the time I have and with what I'm doing. And I can't totally emulate him because some of what he was about was not just inspiring people to have freedom of speech. And some of it wasn't just inspiring people to have more conservative ideas. That was what I loved about him, was his inspiring people to be more conservative ideas. I thought it was just something that I noticed that, boy, he talks about religion a lot. But I'm thinking, okay, you can approach this many different ways. Some people could say that he is encouraging people to get back to church, get back to Jesus. Fishman 5678, hi Leather, hi Fishman. But now some people could say, well, maybe he's encouraging people to just go back to their search for God, period. God, whatever God means to them, whatever gods there are, and let's face it, there are a lot of gods. And actually, went on to Instagram and I discovered they have all these, mostly in Sanskrit, message boards, but they're Indian deities for the Hindus. Well, they don't just have to be Indians. They could be from Bangladesh. They could be from any country that uses that pantheon of deities. And a lot of the content, admittedly, is in Hindi or Sanskrit or different things, but sometimes you have somebody speaking in English. And I found a channel where a man is speaking in English and he's talking about gods in the English language for them, and he's talking about what they're good for and the purview these different deities have over different aspects of human lives, and in different ways that you can give respects to them in the temples. And as a person that's always been really interested in the Hindu deities, and I know Charlie Kirk would prefer that I decide that Christianity is real and stuff, but right now, I think the fact that I'm entertaining any more interest in any gods, period, should be something. And if I could get back to, because there's a lot of things I've forgotten, and how's about go where you find an attraction where what feels like God, whatever that means to you. And I'll be honest with you, when I have been in Indian temples, I feel a lot more spiritual than in any churches I've ever been in. But being on a beach in the wintertime can do that for you also. You know, being in the around the ocean and seeing the force of the element of water. I like feeling energies of the elements, but water is, I guess, less scary than probably any of them, even though any element can have its danger and its power. And that's the thing, is that these elements are more powerful than any of us. A lot of the Hindus have to go back. What do you mean a lot of the Hindus have to go back? What do you mean? Oh, you're talking about with illegal alien sweeps. That's what you mean. You know, I believe that what Trump said was true, that we're focusing on those who are the most, the really bad, the criminals. If you're just a peaceful person and you've never done anything wrong except for the initial breaking the law or the initial visa overstay. But there are some people that they're the worst of the worst. I don't know how many of them come from India, though. But I think that you go where the crimes lead you and get rid of those dirtbags first, right? Okay, now, she wants a salad. Let's go and make the salad. Make sure that this is good. Nothing's bad on this. This is pre-washed. Okay. Okay, I'm going to push this. Ooh, that's still hot. Oh. Ooh, ouch. Hey, you mousies, watch out for that. Okay. I do baby talk to my mom. She can, deportations. She can tell when I'm baby talking to mice because I'm making, you little gray fuzzy baby with the big black eyes, and a little tail, and the whiskers, and you put your thumbs, your hand, and then she can tell when she doesn't appreciate it. I'm doing this by hand rather than just dumping them in, because if anything was rotten, I wouldn't want to be having to then dig out the rotten stuff. Now this looks pretty okay. Yeah. This is good mix because it also has shredded carrots in it. This said Fresh Express ready to eat crunchy blends. It says veggie lovers. Iceberg lettuce, carrots, romaine lettuce, pea pods, radishes, red cabbage. Good source of vitamins A, vitamin C, and vitamin K. And she said she also wants some sweet peppers. I really love the ICE officers keeping us safe. Yes, I do too. And I believe that they got to keep the masks on because they are being doxxed. You get these crazy people that are. Did you see that one idiot towed one of the ICE officers' cars? You got people that are throwing things. Somebody threw human excrement at ICE officers. People are doing terrible things. And if they were forced to unmask, then people would take pictures of them and they would hunt their children, and they're just doing terrible things. So yes, I love our ICE. Oh, I know what I'm looking for. Okay, these are sweet peppers, and you know, oh, I'm going to do these two ways. I'm going to start with two, okay, and I'm going to wash them. And when I take out the seeds, I always save them because I always like to save seeds for my green thumb. You see, and they're so easy to save in a pepper because most of them are concentrated right up here. And oh, I love the smell of fresh pepper. And I'm gonna find some paper because I don't want these to get all moldy and stuff. Let's see. Okay, we'll set it down. I will get it from. Okay, my mom is not talking to her friend. I guess if you're talking from one iPad to another, that's called FaceTiming. That's what my mom is doing with. I'm so happy that one of my mom's friends has actually got her some tech and is teaching her how to use it. That is wonderful. See, now my mom's acting like mom. Grandma had a desktop computer. It wasn't a Mac. It was some kind of I don't know. One time she had the dial-up connection from AOL. You know. Okay, there's this. This I'm just going to tear to pieces with my nail like I did with the onion. And if any pieces fall in here, I think I'll save it for the mice. Can you see what I'm doing? Oh, it smells good. I like to make real little pieces that way. It's easy to get some in every mouthful if you mix it enough. And it keeps the salad dressing from dripping down your chin. It smells good. It smells like that real fresh pepper. See, this doesn't have a lot of seeds. Okay, I'm putting them. I'm going to show you where I'm putting these seeds. Right next to these butternut squashes. I can't wait to cook them. When I cook them, I'll cook them on camera too. Usually you cut them in half, take the seeds out, and you bake them and put butter in them, but I can't bake anything that big because we can't use our gas oven because the mice live in it. So, and can you imagine them suffering in an oven? That would be just terrifying and disgusting. So I am coexisting. Oops. I'm so afraid this phone is going to fall on the floor. And, I notice the more phones get dropped, the more it affects the sound. And I don't have any microphone hooked up. I do have a microphone now that was sent to me, and I have to figure out how to, what to plug it into. I don't believe that its fitting can fit into a cell phone, and I don't know if it fits into the ports on a computer or not. Maybe it does. Now I'm going to take another one of those peppers. I'm going to wash this one. You've been hungry for that squash. Yes. Oh, the squashes. The squashes. I watched, I like to bake them because I like to scrub the skins, but I like to eat the skins. There's usually one part near the stem end that is too hard to eat, but they're so packed with vitamins. When people throw them out, it drives me crazy, because why would you throw out, okay, if you get these supplements like the Balance of Nature and like the Immuno 115, whatever, when they use things from fruits and vegetables, they use the rinds, everything, unless of course there's a poisonous part. So if they are including the whole part so you get the vitamins and the minerals from the whole plant, why the heck are people peeling their potatoes, peeling their squashes? Now, this one way that I learned to cook squash that was on one of the chefs that my mom likes to wash, this involved chopping up the squashes into bite-sized pieces after peeling them. I would not peel and get rid of the vitamins unless you could peel them and then do something with the vitamins. But then how are you going to put the vitamins back into the squash that you peeled? You better just not peel them in the first place. But because they can be tough and scratchy, people don't want to be chewing them to death. That's why I don't eat enough raw carrots, for instance, because you're chewing them and chewing them and chewing them and chewing them and chewing them. It's like, I'm going to live the last, if this is the last 5 minutes I'm going to be alive, do I really want to spend all this time chewing raw carrots? And one of the things that annoys me when I eat Chinese food, and I love Chinese food, it's like probably my most favorite cuisine in the whole world, when they don't cook their broccoli enough. Say it's broccoli, beef with broccoli, and the broccoli's raw, and again, I'm chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing. And if, say, a big sinkhole was to open up and swallow us, and that would be my last 5 minutes on Earth, I don't want to be spending it time chewing hard broccoli. And then they never cook their sweet peppers enough. And it's like, when I like to take this stuff home and boil things, saute things in a reduction, making a sauce, adding a little soy sauce to it so that it's not too sweet and stuff. Especially if you have almost no salt, you definitely want to use your soy sauces. Anyway, yes, I have them. And I promise I will cook them on film. So, okay, 2 of these are going to be raw. 1 of these I'm going to saute. So here's what I'm going to do. Gonna put this back here. Oh, this is wonderful. And now I'm going to take most of this wonderful fat, and I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to put it over the onion. Okay, I got this oil here, and I see what I'm going to do. I'm going to fry up this sweet pepper. You know what? I'm probably going to do more than one, right? Okay, I'm going to save the, now, I might not get to use these seeds for a couple years. And every year you wait to use them, you reduce their bioavailability to a certain degree. But you're still going to get some that will work. We have date palms and olive trees that are over 1,000 years old that we found the seeds and they are sprouting. So, okay, I'm going to tear this up. And you know what? To save time, I'm not gonna have these real tiny. Let's get an orange. And this one has a lot more seeds. Look at all these. Can you imagine if each one of these was a plant? All right. Oh, Debbie, I'm glad you're on. I want to tell you something. I set up the light stuff in my main set. It was easy to set up. I hooked everything up. The lights work. I am very happy about that. It was. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, well, you always want to keep the handles away from the stove when you start to fire it up again. Okay, now I'm gonna. Anything flammable? Okay, now I'm going to put this on again. Now, I'm gonna do something else here. Let me see. I gotta figure out if I have to wash this or not, or if it's already washed. I think I want to make some rice, right? Okay, I gotta find where the rice cooker is. It's obviously not there because, well, the part that is plugged in is there, but I mean the thingy. I think it's in my mom's bedroom. Okay. She says she hasn't seen it. Where the hell is my rice cooker? Oh, duh. Follow me. You know, this reminds me of when I was like 11 years old and I would be looking for something in my room. And I'd be looking, and after like an hour, I'd say, Mom, where is something? And she says, I put it away. This thing I was looking for. Okay. And it goes into oh, sorry. Oh, no. Whoa, sorry about that. I'm trying to show you. This is the rice cooker. Oh, and it's here. If you didn't know what kind this was, this is it's a small one. It doesn't have a whole bunch of fancy things. It just has warm and cook. You press it down here. When it's done, it goes up and keeps warm this way. But right now, I'm gonna You know what? I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more oil to this. Did you know you can always reuse oil if you have extra oil? You can use coffee filters and you can strain, because you can have solid bits that can actually be more likely to catch fire. So a lot of people don't like to have oil with too much texture in it. But that texture will really impart flavor, you know. I'm trying to put this up, and I'm going to get the rice. And this is just a bag of, now if I had my druthers, I love those exotic rices that you might find if you go to an Asian market. My favorites are basmati and jasmine. And I forget which one it is that actually has this real nutty scent to it. It's a white rice, it's a long grain rice. And the basmati, I believe you're supposed to soak for a half hour before you actually press the cooking thing. But this is just Jack and the Beanstalk brand long grain rice. You don't need to soak it first. This is enriched, and when you have enriched rice, you can't, like some people like to soak the water and dump it out and until it gets clear, because there's less starch. But the problem with that is if it's enriched, you lose all your nutritional content. And anything that has vitamins in it, you don't want to lose your vitamins. So for that reason, you don't want to rinse your rice. One example, though, when you could do it. Oh, and by the way, I'm not paying enough attention to these, and they're getting too overly done. So I'm going to do this. I am going to, and I'm, by the way, I'm making some things up as I go along, because I love to get creative in the kitchen. Because one thing stovetop cooking you can do that you cannot do with baking unless you're a chemist and you really, really, really know what you're doing. By chemist, I don't mean chemists like in the 80s and the 90s. I mean like baking is chemistry. Baking is a science. You cannot play around unless you really, 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 really know what you're doing. But there's so much more leeway when you're here on the stovetop. But I'm going to get this rice first of all. And I like to use this as a measuring cup because I like to know what can comfortably fit in the rice cooker when it's done. And so I'm going to put this in here. Okay. And when people mess up, how a lot of people mess up when they cook rice is they use too much water. Rice today is not how rice was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. There's newer rice, there's older rice. You know what? To be safe, I'm going to add more to make sure that I don't screw up how much water I'm putting in. Oh, these are good containers if you live with mice. Mice can't bite through them. Short grain Japanese sushi rice. Yeah, that can be sweet, and that's used for your sticky rice. There is a brand called Kokuho, which is a Rose. They make a rice called Rose, or maybe Rose is a brand, or maybe Kokuho is a brand. But anyway, it's a sticky sushi rice, and it's sweet. And then there's a little tiny black rice, which makes sure it really is black rice and not mouse shit, because they look very similar. Actually, black rice is smaller, I believe. Oh, and I don't have the scissors here. You know what? I'm going to open up this window because I'm getting hot, hot, hot. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to, oh, yeah, open up the rice. It's a good idea. And I really want to get an exact measurement on the rice. It's not that I care how much rice there is. Yes, I don't want the lid to be forced off because it's overflowing. But I like basmati, and I love jasmine rice. Jasmine rice. Well, one time I was at one of the Chinese restaurants in Caesars, and the place is called Kwai, and just the rice alone had such a nutty smell. Some rice is so heavenly, all you need to do is put butter and salt on it, and it is sublime. It is literally, you could eat this and flip on it because it's so good. That's the kind of rice I want to make, alright? I'm going to put this in the fridge. Man. Yeah. Stay there. Okay. Alright, now. If you want a rice that is not soggy and sticky and a kind that you could throw against the wall and stick, like there's a certain place that I eat sometimes. Oh my God, their rice is either half raw, which gets on my last nerves. I mean, you expect the sublime, perfect texture when you bite down, and you're getting hard things that you chip your teeth. That's so unpleasant. I've had that happen at lower end places like food court, Chinese restaurants and stuff, but that, I don't know what's worse. Either the hard rice that's not cooked enough, or when you use too much water and it gets soggy and stuff. So what I'm going to do is, okay, you see this? Put this in here. Now, the first water I'm going to get is just exactly level with this, okay? Okay, that was perfectly level. This is perfectly level, okay? Now, you don't want to do 2 to 1. I don't care if the package directions. They say you should always do the package directions that way once just to see if it's accurate. And you would think it would be real. But instead of doing 2 parts water to 1, do 1.5. 1.5 parts water to 1 part rice. You do that and then stir really well so the water looks really, really milky. But don't drain it. Use that water. Okay, now, taking this. Alright. That's your measurement. If you use that formula, no matter whether it's a scant cup, full cup, a little bit more, just make sure that it's going to fit the size of your rice cooker. The first time I ever had rice cookers, they were much larger. So they could cook more at one time, obviously. But with that, at least there's more leeway. One time I used my Hello Kitty mug, which is packed away, but it holds, I don't know how much more than this it holds. But when I tried to make rice with it, the lid was forced up and it was just too much. So yeah, do be aware that you're using the capacity or anything, because you can do a lot more with these rice cookers than just make rice with them. As long as it doesn't exceed what it'll hold, you can do a lot. Okay. I know I need to use a real spoon, but you know what? I'm just going to use this just to get it. Now this, one thing you can do if you don't get enough water in it and it's kind of hard, if you keep the lid on it when the warmer's on there, condensation will gather on the lid surface, and it will drip down, and it will add a little bit to the moisture content. So if the rice is a little hard at first, if you just leave it alone, it will soften up. But if you start off with a little bit too much water, then it will get soggy. And then if, say, you're delayed in serving everything because you're waiting for something else to cook or something, then by the time you get to the rice and it's been on the warming thing for a while, then it'll be soggy and yucky and just not a good consistency. Now, if you want to, you can take some of that onion mixture like I had, and you can actually mix it with the rice while it's cooking. But you know what? It'd probably be better to wait until the rice is done. Or you can say, you know what? I'm going to get adventurous. And this is where I've been keeping my utensils, especially the ones that I use because I don't like metal in my mouth. So I actually prefer using plastic cutlery. Or wood. Wood's pretty groovy too. And my mom, you know, she uses those special handled things that are easier for her to pick up. Okay, I'm gonna stir this easier. I'm thinking, do I add these things to it? You know what? I think I will. Add just a spoon. What I'll do is when this water boils, this will impart some of the flavor of these peppers. I could do that with a little bit of the onion. I don't want to do too much with the onion because too much onion will sweeten things up. Okay. You see? I'm stirring this up real good. I never add salt to the rice cooking water because I found that no matter how much salt I added to it, I always invariably added salt after it was done. So as a result, I'm putting way, way more sodium than I want to or should impart, and I hardly taste the effects of the salt. And the whole point of putting salt in things is to noticeably improve the taste. If adding salt to it doesn't leave and you don't notice the effect, why do you want to do that? Do you want to risk it with your blood pressure? Okay. It's about as cloudy as you're going to get. Now, time to cook the rice. Oh, sorry about that. I hit some bad key and it said, do I want to restart? Do I want to whatever? And anyway, I don't know what I did, but I'm glad it resumed. So I just turned the thing on, the rice cooker. Okay. And, oh man, it's so hot in here. I'm going to show you what everything looks like here so far. Now, I guess we're going to do the first course for my mom, which is going to be the salad that she wants, okay? And I'm going to show you the dressing I have for her. Oh, and I just remembered something. She said she wanted onion in this also. So this is sugar-free raspberry by the brand name or the chef is called G. Hughes. And she loved this. If you guys like raspberry, this stuff, she thought, I can't say it's wonderful because I don't care for raspberry, so I didn't try it, but she thought this was really wonderful. I saw this, and because it was raspberry, I took a chance on it because when you want to spoil somebody and they love food and they love good food, you find things that are appealing, you know, so. Let's see, she wants onion. You know, I better ask her if she wants an onion. Okay. Alright. So this is the first thing that I'm going to do. She says she doesn't want me to go through the trouble of doing the onion thing. Oh, do you hear those cats? Oh, they're crying. Those cats are crying. Okay. I'm being generous with this. And she likes pepper. Oh, she likes pepper. My mom is a freak about the pepper. Ooh. And there's enough salt in the dressing. So, okay. Now, I'm going to carefully take this off this holder. Okay, now, here we are going to give Mom her first course. Oh, but I have to make sure that she has the, she likes the special silverware that she can hold easily. So, whoops. Okay. And I want to show you guys something. This box here has the silverware that you see that has some. Okay, but now we're having a problem here that the only fork I can find is this fork that doesn't have the things. And you can't exactly use a spoon to eat your salad. Okay, Mom, we're having a problem that the fork is not the
Fine, honey, fine.
Okay, well. Okay.
Oh. Thank you.
Okay, well, I want to make sure that people can see. Here, you see Mom's pretty face? She's eating her num-nums.
They can't see me.
You could see a little bit of us. You can see me, you can see her. Okay, alright, now you can mute your thing. So she could see her Matlock. So, anyway. Alright, now she is eating that while you and I, whoops, hang out here. So hot, guys. You guys do not know. And the thing is, I can't turn on the fan over there because that outlet is needed by the rice cooker. And, oh, I am hot. Okay, let's talk about some finishing off, so to speak. Finishing off of the steak. Now, this is the imperial margarine that my mom wants to use. And so I'm going to, well, kind of divide things up a little bit. I'm going to take this big, beautiful steak, and I'm going to set this here. And some of these here, I'm just going to slice off a bit of this stuff I'm going to put on meat. Now, one thing with this imperial, it does not melt. Makes you wonder what it's made of, huh? But I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put them right on some hunks of meat here. Now, when she's ready to eat some meat, I will put the fire back on these. Now I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator. Now, this is real butter. You know who got me onto butter? Was my father. Dad loved butter. Mom would eat margarine. Margarine was for Mom and me and my brother. My father loved butter. And sometimes she would get the kind in the tub that was whipped. And then you get like a half a pound at a time. Breakstones is one of the companies. But there's a lot of dairies that make it. But, and they made two kinds, a salted kind and unsalted that you could use for baking. And they were wonderful. And when I got old enough to be allowed a preference, I became a butter person. And of course, now we know that it's fine for us. Even though I think everybody's always worried about the artery clogging thing. But okay, so now if I can just remember that these are hers and these are mine, so to speak. Okay. Gonna put the fire on. And of course, doing this is really tricky because it's easy to totally overcook things. But unless you guys can think of another way to melt this stuff. Way over here. So I'm thinking if I have things obviously more to the side, then we can tell the difference. Okay, so this is my side and this is her side. So. And then after we've eaten both of those, then I will cut off some of this for her and for me. And then I can tell you what the difference is between the steaks. Kiki, hello. Happy Thursday evening, Leather and all. Is that right? Is that how you pronounce it? Kiki or Keek? I never want to disrespect people by screwing up their name. Whenever I'm in a doctor's office, I always hear things like Leathur. Like my name is item of clothing you put on. And I figure that, of course, if people don't know, you know, all we can do is guess, right? You know, until sometimes I become famous, then everybody will know, but... You know, I think I need more butter than that because you see the chefs actually, Kiki. All right, I'll try to remember that. Okay. I want to do what the chefs do, that they just actually baste their meat in butter. And they add lots of salt too, and well, I want to be more careful with that. Oh man, I wish you guys could smell this. Okay, now I'm gonna. Okay, now I'm gonna turn this fire off. We don't want to overdo it. Take this and move this aside. Yeah. I'm going to take a look at the rice. Yeah. Rice takes a good 20 minutes to cook, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. You know what? Now, though, this has been sitting here for a while. I think I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm going to take this piece. I'm just going to put this back here. I'm going to try this. I'm going to dip this into this. Now, I got two different kinds of salt here, and I have to be careful what I put these things on. This is salt. Some of this is kosher salt, but it's really, really hard, and you don't want big chunks when you want something that you can incorporate into food. But it's sometimes the only salt I have, and if you need salt, you need salt. Kiki says, Leather, when I was in high school back in the 80s, I did my makeup just like Susie. Oh man, she is beautiful. This, if you know anybody that takes heart meds, do not give them this light salt. It is, my mom says that she can't take it. She has heart failure and she has atrial fibrillation, and it's really important. Sometimes, depending on the people's health needs that you're cooking for, you have to take their health in consideration when you're cooking. And I would sure hell not want my cooking to make anybody sick. So if you're cooking for people with different needs, just make sure what you're cooking them. So the heart people can't eat these. And I noticed this gives you, instead of a really salty taste, this gives you almost a sweet Epsom salt kind of taste. Not that I know what Epsom salt tastes like, but it's like a different, less salty kind of salt. Now, so I've been hoarding salt packets because for some reason it's hard to find salt. But anyway, now I'm just going to add salt to these onions, and I'm going to shake salt over this, because even if you're trying to go on a low salt diet, you still need some salt because you want some flavor. Okay, now let's see how this piece of steak tastes. I'm looking, just, is it cooked enough? See, it's not even at the well done stage. It's I'm guessing medium. Okay, I'm going to take a piece of this kind and I'm going to tell you what the difference is. Now you see, notice the only seasonings at all on this was the oil and turmeric infused oil that the steaks were fried in. Then I put butter on them and a little bit of salt. That's it. I want to let the meat shine. Oh. Now, when the rice is done, you got drippings from the meat. You got sauteed onions. You got sauteed sweet pepper. This is simple, good food. I think it's good. Juice is dripping down my chin. My mom says that this needs pepper or salt. Okay. Sometimes when somebody wants salt and pepper, I find it's easier just to mix them both in your hand, okay? Now, how am I going to do this without shutting this off? I'm going to hope I don't accidentally turn this off again. Okay, you see this? Your post changed my life. And I know why you did it. Good. Why you screamed and
Oh, except when you my face.
you posted
Thanks.
because you knew right from wrong. And you stand for what's right. Oops. Oh, as I stubbed my toe. Okay, now gonna hang this back on this. Oh, I want you to see what my setup is like for this. Do you see this? This is the tripod. This is actually a mic stand tripod. My friend Ira, who used to play guitar on the Atlantic City Boardwalk, and unfortunately he passed away a couple months ago. And okay. I want to wash my hands again. Okay. It's really bubbling up and on its way to boiling, but not anywhere near. But there is something that I feel like doing. Now, if you're under 21, I don't corrupt you, so you shouldn't be looking, but I have something here and a teeny, 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 tiny little bud. And this won't even give me a half a bowl, but you know what? Better than nothing. And I gotta tear this up teeny tiny, fluff it out, you know. Oh, you know, I realize that part of the reason why I smoke weed on so many of my live streams is because I believe in free speech and I believe in the First Amendment and I believe in being honest. And even though some of the things I talk about and some of the things I do, not everybody's going to like, not everybody's going to approve of. And I know when it comes to conservative content creators, smoking weed on a podcast or a video is probably not considered a very conservative thing. But you know what? I think for myself, and I have a whole lot of interests, and I'm somewhere between moderate and conservative, but I definitely do lean right. But I don't think that this is a bad thing. And let's see, try to have all the weed. Oh, and now this will officially mean that I am all out of weed. And I hate being all out of weed, by the way. You know, but oh well. Oh, here this is. I'm going to inhale because I am over 21 and I am broadcasting to you live from Atlantic City, New Jersey. New Jersey is a fully legal state for all adults 21 and older. But, like the video I did a couple days ago, it is currently illegal to smoke in public in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I think that is such a load of hippie horse manure. I've met other Republicans who smoke weed. This was mind blowing to me. When I went to Wildwood to the Trump rally, you get friends. You make friends with the people in your line. You know, when you're getting ready to camp out, you become friends with your brothers and sisters. One guy near me was a police officer from one of the towns upstate New Jersey, kind of close to New York City, and there was people passing weed around, passing joints around, and he was waiting for his municipality to get official permission for the cops to smoke weed there, because apparently just because it's made legal in the state doesn't mean automatically all the cops can, oh, now we can get stoned. They have to, each different police department, they need to get permission. I don't know whether they vote on it or whether their supervisors just need to say, yeah, why not? You know, if it's okay for a cop coming off of work can hang out in a bar with his sidearm right strapped to him, and he could have a couple of drinks, and generally speaking, 999,000 times out of, I mean, it almost never have any problems. So why do you think they can't responsibly be trusted to handle marijuana? And if some of them have been smoking since their teens, and it was like a secret, and finally they can come out of the shadows and enjoy something, you know? You know, the main reason why I never thought to go into law enforcement when I was a kid and I was working with cops is because I didn't want to be having as my job a job where I arrested people for the very thing that I was doing. I just couldn't do it, you know. Now, it didn't occur to me that there were cops that took a chance to just deliberately not bust people for things like that. And one of my very dear friends who's local here, apparently, when he's like 15 years older than me, and apparently for some of the same years that I was in California, he was out there. He was, what was it? A marshal, maybe it was some kind of state police or something. But he said that he only busted people who sold drugs to kids or did things that were corrupting of minors and stuff. But basic, simple possession, he didn't fuck with people. And if I ever had met cops who went out of their way not to bust people for drugs, it would have blown my mind. I do remember one time when I was passing a bowl around at a bus stop on Sunset Boulevard, and all of a sudden these cops showed up, and this guy had a chevron and the stripes and everything, which meant that he was what, a lieutenant or a captain, or he was somebody really high up, and he totally didn't care. It blew my mind. And there was this other time when he asks the person I was smoking with if I was a boy or a girl, because apparently he wasn't sure if I was a drag queen or if I was transgendered or whatever. And this kind of blew my mind a little, because I wasn't used to people not being able to tell that I was a cisgender female. But, now in this day and age, it's certainly understandable for people to ask. And as long as people are polite about it, I have no problem with people asking. But it's like when people are rude and you shouldn't make people feel bad about things that they can't control. If a person doesn't look totally conventional just because that's the way they're born, it's like, some people have different shaped noses than others. Some people have bigger jaws and smaller jaws than others. So, people have just some natural differences, and unfortunately, there's always going to be people that are going to be rude. But I can't worry about it too much. But I am going to smoke this very last of my weed, because I like weed. The weed is gone. Okay. Now, you heard that doohickey go off? That was the sound of the rice cooker. And usually when it goes off, I wait 10 minutes before opening the thing. That's especially a good idea if you're not sure if you put enough water in. But if you ever get nervous about the condensation dripping and you think that's going to be too much, all you have to do is take paper towels or even muslin or a dish towel or whatever, and put that over, like wipe the condensation, the first condensation you see. Then put this paper towel or whatever on, place the lid, and you can continue to have it on warm. And as any condensation happens, it'll get caught by the paper towel and it won't over soak your rice. And it's by using that technique that you can use these rice cookers to make single servings of muffins and cookies, especially cookies like cookies that have oatmeal in them. You can actually, there's a whole class of baking that you can use rice cookers. I found out by watching some videos. If you ever want to go that route, that makes getting a rice cooker a really good investment. So now if you're going to try that, I would definitely go for the higher capacity. This would make a couple of muffins, okay? But if you wanted to cook for a bigger family or something, get one of those rice cookers that serves 10 or 12 cup people. But I think that now I've seen rice cookers on the market, like the one that belongs to my friend that I stay with when I go to Washington, D.C. I'm glad I was able to figure out the thing, because it has a timer. It says there's a timer that can be for either white rice or brown rice, which, brown rice usually takes a good double the cooking time usually. And I think how these devices work is they can tell the humidity level and how much moisture to shut off. That's how I suspect they work. But you can use them to reheat food. You can use them Because there's certain things that you cook, like if you're boiling bones, for instance, to make a broth, it won't do the automatic shut off thing after 20 minutes or whatever. It will keep on because it has such a volume of liquid and the moisture, it will keep going at that furious temperature, whatever the temperature is that is the high. Because it has either cook or warm. And a cook is whatever will cause the water to be at boil. And the warm, what it does is you can still tell the bottom of the rice gets that crusty color. And there is, I forget what the name is of that, but there are recipes that use just the crusty, dry parts of the rice that's on the bottom of the food that's in the rice cooker when your rice has been on the heat for a while. And that's like kind of might not even be fun to chew because it's kind of brittle and kind of tough. Now, one of the things you can do, you can soften up that dry brown rice that's on the bottom layer of the rice that you cook in the rice cooker. All you have to do is add that to some simmering chicken broth, and it will soften up and it will be easy to chew. Especially, this is a good thing to do if you really don't want to waste food, you know. And really, food waste is not really groovy if you think about it. So here's what I'm going to try doing. First of all, I'm going to guess that she's ready. So I'm going to actually set up a plate. Okay, for her, I'm going to use this. Usually, now there's two schools of thought when it comes to meat like this. You know how when you go out to eat, you only cut a little tiny piece and you eat it, and then you cut another piece and you eat it, and which I think is kind of a pain in the ass way to eat it, but apparently it's considered good manners to do so. But you know how if you're actually home, you can just take, let's pretend this was a knife, a fork. You could take this or like grab it with your hand and, you know, now obviously you wouldn't do this at a steakhouse or any kind of restaurant or something. But when we're home, we have certain freedoms that we can do because who the hell do we have to impress? Well, let's get to this big skillet here. Okay, you see these things here? Got to remember which side's mom's food and which side's mine. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to get her some rice from the rice cooker. Ah, yes. Oh, you always want to fluff it up. See what I'm doing. You see? I'll put this down here. Do you see that I'm fluffing this up? Stirring it, I'm lifting it. So it's not all one congealed mass. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Here. I'm going to... Oops. Oh, Kiki. Leather, I pray for healing for your mama and so thankful you are there taking such great care of her. So many seniors have... Well, how I even got here... I'm from here, okay, but I was in Los Angeles working on my showbiz thing, and when 9/11 happened, all of a sudden the work stopped, and mom and dad says, why don't you put your stuff in storage and why don't you come out? So I came out here, and first couple of years it was real adjustment. I couldn't find any work out here, and I was like, I'm this showbiz person, what am I going to do, right? Well, all of a sudden my father got sick. You know, my mom had been working at the Trump Taj Mahal. So my father got sick. I stuck around to take care of him because I'd been trying to find affordable housing in Los Angeles from here, and I could not find anything I could afford, especially on a movie extra budget. All right. So anyway, I'm taking care of my father while my mom's going to work and stuff. Well, eventually my father passed away. When he passed away, my mom and me got an apartment with another person who happens to be my brother. Okay, and he and I are estranged, so we don't talk, whatever. Anyway, we found this place, and my mom worked at Taj Mahal for 16 years. But when a union went on strike and everybody lost their jobs, when the owner decided to just close down the whole building. So over 3,000 people lost their jobs here in the Atlantic City area. My mom was one of them. And you know what happens with older people when they lose their job abruptly? Sometimes their health suffers some effects. And my mom, being a heart patient, she suffered some effects. And this latest thing, why she is kind of weak right now, is she was in two hospitals for like about 3 months. And then she was in a nursing home for physical therapy for like a month. She got out of the nursing home 3 days after I got discharged from the hospital for myself for pneumonia. Oh, and that was fun. And I feel so much better now than I did. But it was really difficult because it was a challenge for me to take care of her because I was so weak and coughing and coughing and coughing and coughing and coughing. Oh, I wouldn't wish how I felt on anybody. But anyway, I feel much better than I did before, and we got through it. And I'm so grateful for having this channel that gives me a feeling of purpose and gives me a way to share my life with the world and all these things that really satisfy certain needs that I got met when I lived and worked in Los Angeles, but since I can't seem to be there now, I'm getting a similar thing through YouTube. Anyway, I now am my mom's caregiver, but the thing is, all this time when I could have been working on the books and making money on the books so that I can eventually get Social Security someday, I've been a caregiver. So I haven't worked really since 9/11. So I am not going to get Social Security when I get old enough to collect. So I'm thinking, because I've been a caregiver this whole time, and I'm not getting paid. And everybody's always telling me, oh, Leather, you can get paid by the state, or you can get paid by this, you can get paid by that. I have inquired a little bit about it, and I honestly haven't heard anything that's possible. You know, and the thing is that these are my prime working years, and I'm taking care of my mom instead. But I'm not saying I'm ungrateful, but I am saying that if I can no longer care for her, who the fuck is going to care for me? And I'm not looking for some man light and shining armor and stuff, because I'm thinking, what would his motivation be? You know, and if he wants me to be a stepmom to his kids, see, he's a single father now. I'm so tired from already taking care of my mom and stuff. I don't know that I want to use up the rest of my energies taking care of yet somebody else. You know, and that seems selfish, but then on the other hand, that would at least give me a feeling of maybe what it's like to be a mom. But to me, if you're going to be a mom, you're going to go through the whole biological thing, including the pain of childbirth and all that stuff. And because I would want to do it the real way, and it didn't happen because I didn't get married, you know, because I came out here because 9/11 happened. And then, you know, when your parents need you, they need you and stuff. So anyway, here, I got to get this closer to, and I can't see what I'm filming, by the way, but the idea is I don't want to spill rice. But if you can see this, my mom says she doesn't like a lot of rice, so I'm only going to give her a little bit, because, you know, she ate a lot of salad. Okay, stick this back here. Oh! Unless you think the mice got at it, you think they did this? Okay, now I'm going to, which is the kind that was her stuff and which is the kind that was my stuff. Do we even know? And I'll just tell Mom to Kiki, you say, well, really, you work 24/7. I understand just how you feel. I also take care of my mother and my father before he passed. It's not easy. I'm grateful just like you, but you definitely put your life on hold. Yeah, you know, I was doing the showbiz thing. And the thing is, okay, in some ways, when I do go back to it in LA, if in fact I go back there, because when they had the fires in Pacific Palisades, I was always ultimately planning on going back to LA because I still have 2 storage units right at Hollywood and Vine, across from Capitol Records. There's a storage unit there. I got 1 unit when I escaped bad boyfriend number 1, and when you're escaping domestic violence, sometimes people go and move your stuff out gradually. I put stuff that I was moving out of that apartment in my dance bag when I was on my way to work at a dance place, so that I was able to put these things in a storage unit because the guy would not have allowed me to get my stuff out. And when you're escaping domestic violence, I think it's important. Now, some people say that you're more important than your stuff, blah blah blah. But I'm sorry, when you have things, when you have possessions, they trigger memories. They are souvenirs of your experiences. They are things that you love. They're your clothes. They're your pictures. They're your things. Like, for instance, there's things here that are very, very important to me that I would get out of here very quickly. My pictures, any hard drives, any things, again, pictures, correspondence between myself and my mom, my memoirs, all my journals, all my notebooks, my song lyrics, those are very, very, very important. And then things like LP records, and then, well, obviously your pets come first, if you have them, if yours are still alive. Okay, I'm going to, oh shit, I'm going to take some of this onion stuff, and I'm not heating it again. I'm just going to put it on top of here, and then I'm going to take some of this cooked sweet pepper. You know what? I'm going to be generous. Take some more of this. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give her some more rice. Oh, please don't spill. Please don't spill. Ah. You know what? I should spill it. Here. Ah! Don't you spill. I want to have some of that stuff too. Okay. Okay. Add some more pepper. Add some more salt. Maybe a little bit more of this liquid. And she still has the fork from before. You ready, Mom? Mom. I'm glad you moved. You scared me. Look, this is rice. This is meat. Just take in your hand or whatever. Where's the? Oh, here's the fork.
Yeah. Wait. Where do I hold my hand? See, I don't have any feeling. That's terrible.
This. Do you see that? I'm using it on here. This is rice.
Okay, rice.
There is sautéed onions, sautéed sweet peppers, and you know what else I did? You know how at the famous steakhouses the chefs always add butter or margarine to it, and they baste it with the butter on both sides? That's what I did. And I shook a little bit of that kosher salt on the top and on the bottom, and I basted it. And well, I didn't quite baste it, but I put, like, now with your stuff, because you know how your stuff doesn't melt, I smeared some on top and the bottom of it, then I put the fire on again, and meanwhile I made rice, and I did the onions first before I cooked the meat, because I wanted to give the meat some flavor instead of, and you know how a lot of times you do a meat rub, a spice rub of some kind before you cook it? This time I didn't add anything to the meat. All I did was I seasoned the oil that I fried them in by sauteing the onion in it first. So, and with the big pan, I sauteed the onion. With the small pan, I sauteed the sweet pepper.
Did you cut this up already?
I cut it. This is for you to just pick it up and eat it around it, because
Okay.
But it started to curl up, and I actually had to cut it up to make sure that it was cooked because, like I explained on camera, you need a sometimes people use a meat iron, or they used to wrap foil around a brick and use that to flatten out bacon and different things. And there's different things you can buy too if you wanted to, but I just used, cut it up, and I explained how when you eat pork roll or salami, and before you fry it, you cut a slit in it so that it stays flat. Otherwise, it just curls up and it doesn't cook properly. So, see, I really like to do teaching when I cook, and I explain why I do things. Anyway, see, apparently we got a what, a hurricane coming our way or something? I don't know. Anyway, Mom is enjoying eating her food, and yes, thank you for acknowledging that I do work 24/7. And another thing that is a part of this is there used to be churches downstairs, and people got used to sometimes having, if not 24-hour food access to people that gave them food and stuff. And I've already told some friends of mine that that's my doorbell, ring it, I will heat you something. So sometimes friends do show up, ironically, when food's being cooked. But the thing is, I also really don't like it when my filming is being interrupted. But depending on the nature of it, I mean, something like a live stream, an interruption's probably perfectly fine because that just makes it more interesting. The one I did a couple days ago when some friends were over, I thought that was so much fun because my friends, well, one of them was asleep, so he didn't say too much, but the other was just, he's a real happy drunk. And he was really silly, and he was interesting, even though some of his jokes weren't really funny. Like the joke where he said he ate cats, that wasn't funny. But the thing is that he doesn't like cats, but cats like him. But he's not a bad person. He's somebody I've known for a very long time. But I want to get some rice. Oh, now that was dry, and I should put the lid back on. I don't think I feel anything from this. Well, that was just such a tiny amount. But anyway, I'm going to put this back in my room because this doesn't really need to be here. And I'm going to take this out because I don't think I'm going to need this anymore tonight. Okay, this goes back in the refrigerator. This goes back in the refrigerator. Okay. This is going to be smaller so I don't get tempted to totally pig out, you know. Because I love rice. Okay, this is actually a pretty large amount of rice. But yeah, getting back to this working 24/7. Okay, things like doing laundry. It takes so much time. Okay? Oh boy. And you see this? This is a basin that I use to wash laundry in. You can get a few things at one time, and sometimes you can do 2 or 3 times, but if the water starts smelling stinky, then you know bacterial growth has happened and you've got to rinse it out right away. So I have to rinse things out. Then I hang them up here. Okay. Sometimes, if they're really, really, really seriously heavy and dripping down, then I have to take them into the bathroom down the end of the hall that's just a half bathroom. By half bathroom, I mean it doesn't have a shower or a bathtub in it. It just has a toilet and a sink. But that has, you can drip things over a pipe over the sink, so you don't have to worry about water dripping on things. But I have to do so much laundry. In the hallway, there's like some things that need to be washed. I have things in my room that I see. Some things I wear more than once, like stockings. There are things that like I put on just for a video, and as soon as the video is done, I take it off. Like stockings, I may only have them on for, I mean, think of how long a video runs. The prep is way longer than the actual video, with the exception of live streams, of course. For a standalone video, I'll be doing research, and I'll be getting ready, my makeup on, the hair a certain way, clothes, everything exactly, trying to get a nice mix of colors so that I'm not repeating similar colors too much. I really try to have variety, visual interest in my videos, okay? But when it comes time to actually make the video, I crank it up. Bam. It may only be 5 minutes or 7 minutes or something. It doesn't need to be longer than it is. With the exception of these live streams, which of course go into all hours, and people, if they have the patience to tune in, but I mean, they don't mind it being longer because they can tune in as they discover. Some people, they're looking for something live that's going on, and they find these things. And that's how I found some of the content that I've discovered. And you know, I love it when I meet my fellow YouTubers who also do live streams, and when we become friends and we help each other and we get on each other's streams and we interview each other and we become friends. And people who I met who were passing through here, that now if I see that they're on, I try to watch them. Okay, I'm going to turn this here so you can see me. I feel so bad about Charlie Kirk still. Losing him is like losing a friend. And see, for me as a secular person, what I loved the most about him was his conservative principles that for me were more aspirational sometimes, because they were like the strictest, purest form of it, and how it applied for a very young person, things about dating with quality in mind, because you're thinking of a potential marriage partner, and going, you know, falling in love and getting married and having children and embracing your gender roles. I guess that was sometimes part of his message. Well, I think people should embrace whatever feels comfortable for them. But when you talk about working 24/7, that is what it is. People don't understand. People that have the nerve to tell me to get a job. You know, when I do go out of the house, I have to be so careful to do it. I take chances that she is asleep and isn't going to notice that I was gone, and I hope that she doesn't fall or something, you know. But yes, I never get time I carve out time to get things done. Like for my filming stuff, I enjoy it when I can still go on adventures and stuff. Of course, sometimes I get people who don't normally watch my videos who will go and accuse me of neglecting my mom whenever I post a video showing that I'm out partying with friends in the wee hours or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm being a neglectful caregiver and stuff, you know. I'm like, I assure you guys that if in fact I am going to be going to Washington, D.C. soon for, I don't know if it's just going to be one day or just a couple of days, I am going to make arrangements for my mom to be okay, and for the most part, not alone, you know. Now, this doesn't mean I'm coordinating with the other person that lives here, because I have no dialogue with that person. Oh, what I'm looking for, by the way, what I'm digging around in this skillet is I'm digging it around for, oh, don't drop, yay. I'm digging around for beef blood or anything like that. You know, that's so loaded with flavor. Oh, this is what, oh, you see what I'm doing? I'm getting marrow. Oh, marrow is so good for a person. Oh, yes. So I'm looking for something to flavor this rice with. You know. I haven't even tested the rice to see if it's hard. It looks a little on the small side. If it's a little tiny bit on the hard side, I'll just let it continue to stay on the warmer, and the condensation will give it a little bit more. Oh, this is good. Marrow. Oh, this is concentrated vitamins here. You see what I'm doing? This is wonderful. I need to add some more meat to this, I guess. There. A little bit more. Alright. Well, you know what? I'm going to try to see what the rest of this is, if this is being... Well, he was wonderful. Kiki, you have a job. Thank you. Kiki, I'm a President Trump supporter. Charlie Kirk fan. Love kitties. Have 4 inside and 5 outside. They just come, so I feed them. Oh. Yeah, I break for kitties, and I don't have any alive inside anymore. Garfield died May 9th. I've been seeing ghost cats lately. Usually when I see a cat, something of a cat, usually it would be curled up, but now they dart around at my feet. And they move too fast for me to tell exactly which one it is. They look like a solid color, which really wouldn't make any sense, but you know what? Who's to say that they were not another cat and not just ours, but I would think that it would be ours. Okay, I want to try this. So I hope Charlie Kirk wouldn't be offended if he knew that his death had inspired me to learn a little bit more about the Hindu gods and what they do. Because you see, people who are so used to praying to Jesus and the YHVH, and they're so used to this because their grandparents did it and their great grandparents did it, And he did it for 1,000 years and earlier and earlier. But what about the people in India? Their gods are just as real to them. And the thing is, I have worked with their deities before. Ganesha, the elephant deity, I worked with Ganesha to extend the life of one of my cats who was sick. And he came through, and the cat got at least another year. But I love Trump. I've been a fan of his since way before he got into politics. He built some of the casinos here, you know. He was always a character. He was always smart and wealthy and applied the discipline from his education and his upbringing. I like that President Trump does not drink alcohol. I quit alcohol 20 years ago. I'm so glad I don't have that in my life. It's so dangerous. Or at least I thought it was for me. If any of this is gristly too hard to eat, I'll just save it for the street cats. But I'm not going to go near that street where they were killing them. Because, you know, there's enough people. This is not a big channel, obviously, but there are certain kinds of people that are watching me. Like some of the state police here watch me. And I do post, obviously, a lot of conservative content and content about concepts and things. And they know that I'm on their side and I support them. Even though I bellyache about the local cops here kicking me off the boardwalk with my guitar and losing my livelihood. And this whole war on homeless people, period. That's something that saddens me. I mean, I could see all the sides of it. I've been homeless before, so obviously I see my side. But I also know that whenever I was in that situation, I did my best to not be seen outside. I did my best to not be part of what people hate about seeing it. And I could certainly see Trump's point about how tents are an eyesore when you're walking around Washington, even though since I've been homeless before, if I walk down the street and all of a sudden I see a tent, I am torn between wanting to give them their space because they don't want people to deal with it, and then thinking, I bet they're cool, I would want to make friends because I've been homeless too. And maybe I could make friends with them, and then I could go back and bring them for provisions, you know? I think that would be really awesome.